Child, I'm trying to find the right light for our recap. Should I do it here? 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 This might be it. Or should we go over here? Y'all gonna have to deal with my lighting situation. I'm still trying to give you the Real Housewives of Atlanta recap with good lighting, good background, good audio, all the things. We're just gonna have to deal with good audio, bad lighting. All right, girl. For the love of Mariah Carey. Okay, I settled on this. I wanted to give you guys a little behind the scenes of what it takes. And that was just a little bit of what it takes to create content on video platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all those things. It's all about your lighting. It's all about your audio. And of course, then you have to think about editing. Then you have to think about the content. You have to watch these episodes. You have to review these episodes. But at least when I give you guys my review and my reaction to these reality shows, it's genuine, in the moment thoughts. Some things I'm like, oh, I think about and I write down in my notes. But yeah, it's a lot of things. And the other element, me traveling, not in my normal studio, not in my normal environment where I have lighting and things like that. And sometimes I do travel with a little bit of my own lighting. I already overpack. If I pack another thing.
Hell no.
But look. First world people problems. You don't care. You want to hear my thoughts. There's so much. And I already shared some quick thoughts on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube in my YouTube shorts. So be sure to check those out if you missed it. Those were my immediate thoughts. Yes, this is a day later than I normally put out Real Housewives of Atlanta because I was traveling back from Cologne Pride. Shout out to our members of the channel. You already knew where I was. You already got to see some photos from my trip to Cologne this weekend for, from what I hear, the biggest Pride in Europe. And it really did look and feel like it. But I'll be honest with you. One Pride feels like the next Pride. Just a different language, different people. A lot of it is the same, but different. I'll talk more about it on our podcast. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for our recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, where we had an OG reunion and we had a past housewife who was part of the show for a very long time be edited out. Let's get into a countdown. Live chat. Don't forget to like the video. Subscribe. For those of you that are part of the replay, be sure to like the video. And don't forget, subscribe. Subscribers only, live chat. And let me know your thoughts and ratings in the comments section. Let's get into a countdown, and then let's get into this Real Housewives of Atlanta recap, because it's actually pretty late here when I'm recording this.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. You bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead, just watch the shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel because it is subscribers live chat, and don't forget to vote in the poll to let us know your thoughts on the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. How are you guys feeling? Because I know some of you have been saying the season's boring, but was this episode a little bit better for you? What did you think of the OG reunion, sans Nene, of course? What did you think of their conversation? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We have to talk about some of the fallout on social media in regards to Cynthia Bailey scene being edited out. We also have to talk about just your thoughts on the episode as a whole, specifically Sanya's Mommi Nation brunch. So let's start at the top. As you know, they always show like little scenes of everyone. We're not going to get into any of that. Sheree is getting acupuncture for fibroids. I love some acupuncture. I don't know how I feel about Sheree this season. I am just, there are quite a few people. I just feel like it feels forced. There's not a lot happening. Okay, let's just talk about it. So the role that Sheree is trying to play, which does not feel authentic to anyone, is that she wants to be the quote peacemaker and the person to bring these ladies together. And to me, it sounds as if a producer told her to do that. They're like, you're an OG. You need to bring everyone together. You've been doing this for a very long time. Here's the thing. Sheree doesn't care about anyone besides herself and her kids. That's and Chateau Sheree. It doesn't come across authentic because that's just never who she's been. And I don't think it's landing for people. I don't believe that Sheree really genuinely wants these women to get along because she really doesn't care. She doesn't. But anyways, Marlo in one part is talking about dating this guy. As you know, she's dating the chef. We even have this scene where all the ladies sort of weigh in the type of guy that Marlo would want, and all of them resoundingly say, oh, a guy with money. Marlo scenes for me also not landing. It's not landing. And I know there are some of you like, without Marlo, this season would be nothing. That's not saying much because Marlo's scenes are so forced, and you can tell a producer is in her ear telling her what she needs to do to spice up the season. And also, I believe Marlo is self-producing as well, and it's just not landing. It's not interesting. It's not funny. I will give Marlo her confessionals do make me laugh. However, Marlo was giving us those types of funny, shady confessionals as a friend of. I said before, Marlo could come back as a friend of, but I already told you, after what we've seen this season of Marlo and what we saw last season of Marlo, I'm kind of good on Marlo. Marlo, for me, is a liability to this entire cast, which led me down a thought right before recording this about Kandi and if or whether or not Kandi should return. I've said countless times, I like Kandi. I think Kandi has had more monumental moments on this show than people give her credit. But I also said at the top of this season, based off of the behavior of Sheree and specifically Marlo, now those individuals have become a liability for Kandi. I feel as if Kandi has a lot going on, and one of the things that we noticed in this episode and previous episodes from this season is Kandi doesn't have time. Kandi's working on producing. Kandi's working on producing movies, producing Tony-nominated Broadway shows. She's got a lot. She's doing successful tours with her band. She's got a lot going on, so much so that she's not even showing up for events this season. I've said this before, these types of things, Kandi's had a long run. She's the longest running housewife in this franchise. I was hoping that Kandi and the gang would kick off and that she could step away. But Kandi also understands, and she's seen specifically this season, what producers have the capability of doing to her career, to her image, to her lifestyle. Right now, Kandi's good because she's like Teflon Don. Because I feel like Kandi's genuine, unlike some of these other housewives on the show. But Kandi, there might come a time, and Kandi, I feel like the universe has thrown a pebble at you with the whole Phaedra situation, and now we're back here with other situations that could have turned in a negative light. And I feel now, Kandi, is your opportunity. Like, even if it's not next season, you come back next season, please start preparing yourself for whatever is going to be next. But I feel like that's what you are doing. I feel like that's exactly what Candy's doing. She's preparing herself for whatever is after Housewives. They're not kicking her out, but I think Candy needs to step away. I really do think that Candy should make that decision for herself and be like, you know what? I got the music going on. I know you said you haven't written songs in a long time for other people. Get back into doing that. Like, Candy's not hurting for work, but now she's not even showing up for Real Housewives of Atlanta. She is, but you know what I'm saying. She's not showing up for, you notice that she's missing in action for a lot of things. And that's because she's booked and busy, and that's as you should be. And I know the other element of this, people are like, well, Candy's an actual housewife. Candy is Atlanta. She knows all of the tea. Like on Candy Speak On It, she was like, well, she's known Marlo. She's known what the streets of Atlanta have been saying about Marlo. So the authenticity of having someone like Candy on Atlanta adds to Atlanta because everyone else isn't from Atlanta. She is. She grew up there as a young peach. So this is the sort of thing I've been having. I've been twerking on the fence about Candy being on the show, but I do feel like Candy has really elevated herself a long time ago. She could have left the show a long time ago and would have been fine. But of course, she's been able to do a lot on the show. When we talk about her restaurants, all of those are partially successful, besides it being Candy, because of the show. That plays a huge element in the success. So I had that thought. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So let's talk about what the streets have been saying. The fans have been so upset, tagging Bravo and saying, why did you put Cynthia Bailey in the trailer showing up to Kenya Moore Hair Care's commercial?
Kenya Moore hair care. Bailey's in the
Completely edited that scene out. And look, we get it, producers. You have a storyline. You only have so much time to fill, and you wanted to spend most of that time with the OGs because you thought the nostalgia of it all would bring in the ratings. And I'm sure it did. I'm sure that it did, especially with someone like Kim Zolciak being on there, and she's all over the headlines. And now she's saying that she's not getting a divorce. And you saw what she said in that OG dinner about Croy and their relationship. I wasn't convinced in what she was saying. Everyone's saying the timing of her announcing the divorce right before this appearance on RHOA, and then announcing that they're not getting a divorce right before she appears. There's nothing about, which I'm always dumbfounded when people tell me that Kim Zolciak Biermann is a Taurus, but this is why I always say all the other elements in your birth chart are so important, especially your moon sign and your rising, because that does change who you are in personalities. Because I'm like, I do not see myself in Teresa Giudice or Kim Zolciak. Candy, yes, okay, but some of these other Tauruses out here, I mean, what is she? No, she's a May Taurus, Kim Zolciak. I don't get it, but we'll get back to Kim in a second. So a lot of you are really upset with Bravo and the production for editing out Cynthia's moment. And maybe the moment didn't give, maybe they didn't talk about Cynthia's divorce or anything like that, but I think that would have been such a sweet moment, especially I think the nostalgia of this episode with the OGs, Cynthia coming back would have been really nice. I don't understand the decision into taking it out. Maybe they felt like it didn't bring anything. But fans, don't forget, Cynthia did film other things throughout the season. So there is still more of an opportunity. And this is why a lot of you probably wonder why, well, first, besides an NDA, Kempire, you kept that secret of being on the Real Housewives of Atlanta or the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yes, because even up until maybe like the week before, I didn't know for sure if I was going to be in the episode because this is Hollywood. This is something I learned a long time ago, and I know Cynthia's probably not sweating this either, is that you just don't know what will be the final edit. When I was on Young, Famous, and African on Netflix, again, although they were like, yeah, you're going to be in it, I was like, let me wait and see. Let me see if it drops. I'm not going to say anything anyways because you're not supposed to. But still, like, I'm like, well, we'll see. We'll see if it's going to happen. So I'm sure Cynthia is not boo-hooing over this. And there are other opportunities where Cynthia has filmed. And don't forget, Cynthia will be making appearances on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Sidebar, cameras are back up because of the Mauricio and Kyle divorce over at Beverly Hills. But I'm sure, again, Cynthia is not worried whether or not she's going to appear, because sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. She might be at a party and completely ignored and edited out. Like this Kenya Moore hair care commercial, which was adorable. And I'm glad that Kenya did not give up on this dream of giving us something in regards to the Kenya Moore hair care. Honestly, I know they wanted to give more to Kenya's storyline. So, of course, they had to bring Roy in. You know, this is a housewife show. They need to give you the story of each housewife and her dating and things like that. I don't know. Kenya, anytime Kenya's around a man, I think it's just who Kenya is, and she's been famous for a very long time. So Kenya is always going to be, I don't know, what's the word? Not standoffish, but maybe very private. Like I would have loved to see in that moment, and look, she doesn't have to do what we want, to see an embrace or kiss that just felt like, I was like, oh, it didn't feel that way. It didn't land that way for me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I hope the best for Kenya, very much like how Kenya was able to have this family. I would hope to see more of Kenya finding love. Sidebar, the mid-season trailer, we did talk about the mid-season trailer for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, so if you missed that, be sure to check that out. Kenya does say, I believe she said it on Twitter, that some of what was edited makes it seem that she wants to have a baby with Mark like that. She says that it's chopped and screwed, y'all. So we will have to wait and watch the entire scene to get a full understanding of Kenya's perspective on using the embryos that she has with Mark Daly, who she still is married to. So this Kenya Moore hair care commercial was really cute. We're seeing so much more of Brooklyn. Not a lot, but definitely more than before. And remember, she has the legal right to do so now. A judge has said, yes, you can, because it is a part of her work, sharing her life. And we get this really cute scene with Kenya just really adores, and I think she's doing a bang-up job with Brooklyn because of the way that she grew up and the lack of love that she got from her own mother. And maybe, look, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. So I'm happy for Kenya. And that's part of me is like, I hope Kenya does end up having another kid, because I think she actually is. It has softened Kenya in a lot of ways. And in some ways, she has not changed. Again, Cynthia was edited out. Roy brought some food. We also had Monyetta in that scene. Monyetta, are you with us? Monyetta, are you with us? She was there, but I'm just sort of like, they had a lot of Monyetta in the beginning of the season. Now Monyetta's sort of just there again. Monyetta, you're a sweet woman. I'll just leave it at that. Drew and her sister. This is probably the most poignant, most important, most dramatic, just the best scene of the episode was us learning more about Drew's sister, Allison, and her struggles with mental health. She was so vulnerable in this moment, sharing how she's worked so hard her entire life, never had taken a break. And then during the pandemic, like a lot of you, felt isolated. A lot of you fell into depression. And she said that, she had to go in for help. So now she's staying with Drew. And she managed Drew's career since Drew was 8 years old. But before that, she was a writer for shows like Amen, Rock, Martin. And if you're a particular age, you know all of those shows. She worked for some of the top agencies. She worked for Wesley Snipes' company. She worked for Johnny Carson. Like, she's had this incredible career. And we just never knew about it because there's so many Black women, Black people behind the scenes that you don't know about that have built up a name for themselves in this industry. Shout out to some of the producers behind this show and some of your other favorite Real Housewives and reality series where Black women are at the helm. I met some of them at BravoCon, and I'm just like, look at y'all, winning Emmys and everything. So I love that we have this real conversation between Drew and her sister and her mom, and just her being so vulnerable in this moment. And Drew, I know we've had our issues, Drew, And I still sometimes look at you sideways with some of the things that you say and do. However, Drew will be carrying the rest of the season. And for me, her scene was the most important scene of this episode because I felt it was real. One of the rare times we get a real moment from Drew and her family. I thought this was really, really, really good. And I think, Drew, I didn't love you last season. I didn't love you the previous season. But this season, I'm warming up to Drew. And it's a credit to her sister to have her sister, who's done so much in this industry, be the one to back Drew's career for so long. And I'm sure she still helps Drew in some capacity still. I'm sure, because you can't have someone like that with a wealth of knowledge. And I know she's taking a break from some of that stuff, but she still also has a wealth of knowledge about this industry. But I thought that was a beautiful scene. Let's talk about this OG dinner. That, for me, when I saw the clip, I was like, let me wait till I see the full scene, because the clip wasn't giving. It was giving forced, it was giving fake, it was giving phony. Well, we have Kim Zolciak, we have Lisa Wu, and we have Deshaun Snow join Sheree for an OG dinner. And Sheree, in interviews, says this was an idea that she brought to producers. Producers, I get it. You wanted to do something for the nostalgia of it all. For those of you that are like, where was Nene? This is not an OG reunion. Look, we know there is no way in hell. It would have been a miracle. Like, I would have been shocked and shook. Clutch the pearls. If Nene was there. All right. However, I did not expect Nene to be there. We already knew she wasn't going to be there for this. But she's such an important part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You can't deny the hole that was missing in this conversation. But we did get updates on Lisa Wu's life. And, you know, when she got a divorce, they literally got a divorce right after they got off the show. Lisa Wu and her husband, and also Deshaun and her husband. Lisa Wu's dating someone. There's always something with Lisa Wu. I'm not going to accuse anyone of anything, but something always feels different, because I felt like Lisa Wu was so sharp, so just like, and I'm not saying that she's not. It's not the same Lisa Wu that I felt like we knew before. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind seeing Lisa Wu come back, though, and getting an update on what's going on in her life. And I also believe that her friendship with Sheree is real. Deshaun, I'm happy Deshaun is happy, and I'm sure Deshaun is not struggling. She doesn't need this show. I feel like Deshaun just did it because they asked her to come. You know, if you didn't know, Deshaun was a part of season 1, and she's an OG, but she never came back after that. According to Kandi, they invited Kandi to this OG lunch because I think the producers like Bravo and NBC Universal, they view Kandi with a lot of respect. They view Kandi as an OG. But Kandi, on her speak on it, because she knows what the fans are going to say, you're not an OG. You weren't there since the beginning. But Kandi's been there since season 2. It's not like she's like one of the people that came during season 5, and that's when we got like Phaedra, Portia, and Kenya. Kandi's been there since season 2. She's the longest running housewife. So I'm not surprised producers were like, go to the dinner. Well, it's probably good that she didn't go to the dinner, because Kim Zolciak decided to use this moment to shade not just Kandi and seeing Kandi at Portia's wedding. She's like, oh yeah, she gave me a hug like tourists. If you didn't know, they didn't have, according to Kandi, they don't have beef. But according to Kim, they have a beef. And that beef is about the song that Kandi produced and wrote and remixed and brought to life and made a major hit, and money that she probably had squandered away for Kim, made. And she basically pushed Kandi out of making any money off of that song because of her own greed. And that's why her life is in shambles. It's called karma. Just saying, you know, she shaded where Kandi lived. Like, a lot of people do not want to see Kim come back, especially after she came back, what was it, season 10? And said that racism doesn't exist. Okay, so she shaded Kandi in that moment. She's like, oh, I saw her at Portia's wedding. And she's like, oh, you know, there's still beef. And Kandi says on her speak on it, there is no beef. Okay. I don't think, Candy's probably like, I've lived my life. I've seen you. I've let it go. Like, whatever. She's lucky, because me, and knowing how Kim really is, I would like, I'm good on you. You stole from me. Anytime you can get a moment to shade me or talk about me, you do it, and you'll do it for a check. I'm good. I'm good on you. If I saw her at Portia's wedding, I would have paid her dust. And then she shades Kenya because she was still mad at Kenya for talking about what Kim posted on social media about her daughter, what her daughter needs to do for John Legend tickets. She's mad at Kenya still from that. And she says, oh, is that B word still alive? Yeah, still alive and thriving, unlike you. Well, Kenya decided to post on social media in regards to this. She says this because our friend's Gossip Informer on Twitter posted this comment from a racist is truly disgusting in regards to what Kim said. They said, meanwhile, you're evil, spent pennies to get features to look like a black woman. Grow the F up. Kenya is not even thinking about you. And of course, they tagged Kim Zolciak multiple times. Kenya retweets this and says, this comment is truly evil. I'm not a Kim Zolciak fan, but I never kicked her when she was sorry, is down. Learning of her divorce, foreclosure, repossessions. Come on, Kenya. Gambling accusations, unfit mom claims, and canceled show. Now begging Bravo and producers to come back to RHOA. Well, you know Kenya. Kenya, in that moment where you think she's just clapping back, no, she's clapping back with grown woman shade. Okay? So Kenya has responded to that on there. The OG dinner. It was interesting. They were all catching up, but it was very clear that none of these people really stay in contact because the way that Kim was talking to Sheree, I thought that they did actually hang out. And according to Sheree on the after show sidebar, it looks like now they're, instead of just putting the after show on bravo.com, bravotv.com, or on YouTube, they're now posting it on Peacock. And they're starting with our girls, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Producers, are we going to get a Real Housewives of Potomac for next season? Everyone waited all season, last season, for after shows for Potomac. But you gave us for Salt Lake City? Okay, girl. But yeah, so now you can watch the after show on Peacock. I noticed that. So we get life updates. Everyone's interacting. Lisa Wu and Kim are talking about their issues. And she's like, I don't know if I should hug you or choke you. Candy points out that Lisa Wu is someone that when she like hugs you or shakes your hand, it's like very aggressive. It's very hard. And honestly, I was triggered because there's someone that I know that from back in the day, and one of my friends knows who I'm talking about, that anytime I would see this person and I would shake their hand, it's always like this, like they gotta show their dominance. It's always sort of like, you should have a stern handshake, but no, this person I'm like, you're breaking my hand. So I was triggered when she mentioned that's what Lisa Wu does. So when Lisa was hugging Kim a lot, she kept on hugging her face like this, almost taking her wig off. Kim Zolciak also talks about her relationship with Croy, and Lisa Wu's the one who brings up the foreclosure. And Kim talks about it like, TMZ's not talking about any foreclosure. I would not sell my multi-million-dollar home for $200-something thousand. Nothing that comes out of Kim Zolciak Biermann's mouth, anyone should believe. You should believe it with a grain of salt, because she has shown us that she is so fake. She's as fake as the wig on the top of her head. We should not take anything that comes out of her mouth as fact. You should take it as fiction, because the foreclosure situation, the gambling situation, all of that stuff is documented. It wasn't foreclosure. It was up for auction. It was removed from auction because Croy too, has been trying to keep saving this home. It was in foreclosure. And she was shading some Instagram blog. Bravo and Cocktails? It seemed like Bravo Cocktails, when they posted about it, they posted the actual website where your home was listed. Kim. Just saying. And I do believe TMZ did report on a foreclosure. I can't with Kim. I can't. And a lot of you say you do not want to see Kim return. But I do know that Kim wants to return so she can keep this check. And Croy may be in on it. And that this is why we were like, a divorce. The way that he rides with her, all of a sudden he wants a divorce. And now they've called off their divorce. All right. The OG lunch for me did not hit the way that I thought that it might. And I really did not think that it was going to hit much because I didn't believe anything. Sidebar, did you guys notice Lisa Wu's face when she brought up the foreclosure and Kim gave her response? Lisa Wu's still a broker in real estate. Her reaction told me everything that I needed to know in that moment. Anyways, guys, if you're just joining us, be sure to like this video. Be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to check out some of the things that you missed. Although I have been traveling, I still posted quite a few videos here on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, on Instagram, and don't forget to follow us on Threads. Everything is at TheKempire. And for last minute opportunity to still get our Pride merch, head on over to TheKempire.com and click the shop button. And a new episode of our podcast came out just a few days ago, so be sure to check that out. I will be releasing a new one with more details about some of what's been happening on my travels and some of my thoughts in hot topics. I mean, like Jamie Foxx making an appearance, Keke Palmer and her baby daddy having issues. We're going to talk about that on the podcast. All right. Shout out to members of the channel. To become a member, head on over to TheKempire.com/join. And shout out to our King's Guards who hold me down in the comment section and in the live chat. We appreciate them. So don't forget to say hi and thank you to our King's Guards. We appreciate them so much. All right. Let's talk about Sanya's Mommi Nation brunch. But first, we got to talk about Sanya. First of all, congratulations to Sanya. She's pregnant. That's what we found out in the mid-season trailer. Sanya's sister, Sherry, or Shaz, as she likes to call her. A lot of you have been dragging Shaz. Everyone has a right to their opinion. I just was like, really? Y'all dragging Shaz? Y'all can't see that Sanya requires a lot of attention? And maybe because people are triggered that you believe that Sanya is taking care of the family. Yeah, she's taking care of the family, but the family's taking care of her. They are allowing her to be able to have the life and career that she has by taking care of everything, like her hair and her son. You didn't notice in that conversation with her sister's like, you didn't fully tell me what was happening in order so I could take care of the home, in order to take care of my kids, my husband, and your son. Like, Sanya's not even thinking about those things. And I think Sanya does appreciate having her sister, but I think Sanya is also spoiled in a lot of ways. I think that Sanya is very spoiled. And Sanya crying, excuse me, first of all, she's a Pisces, so I'm not surprised at the tears. But Sanya crying felt very manipulative to me in that moment. Like, what, are we supposed to feel sorry for you because you weren't clear with your sister? And I feel like her sister just wanted to shut it down. She's like, you're gonna mess up your makeup. I didn't want to make you cry. Because I think she's like, this is being filmed. She didn't even know that this was being filmed like that. And I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people have been attacking Sherry for voicing her how she feels. Sherry's allowed to feel underappreciated. She's providing a service to her sister. Do you think that a hairstylist is on call when someone just comes home at 11 o'clock at night? No, you got to book appointments unless you are Beyonce. No, you have to and pay them accordingly to come and cut out your weave or your wig at 11 o'clock at night. No, but because her sister lives with her, because that's what Sanya wanted, that is like I can Sherry, me understand. And let me tell y'all something. My cousin back in the day, I know a lot of you were thinking, are they talking patois? That is not patois they were talking. That was some sort of pig Latin. Right? Wasn't that pig Latin? That's not patois. And Sanya gonna make y'all really sit here and think that they were talking patois. That was some sort of pig Latin. I remember my cousin back in the day used to talk pig Latin well. I don't know if that was pig Latin that they were talking, but my cousin back in the day, she grew up in Jamaica, and she would sit there and talk like it's a whole other language. So I'm sitting there thinking, and shout out to the producers for getting the dialogue together. Like they thought they were going to get away with it. Nope, they figured it out. They figured it out. So the Mommi Nation brunch, as you know, she asked Kenya to be the auctioneer because her auctioneer got the vid. All right, so she asked Kenya, and Kenya shades her is like, this is the second time that Sanya has booked me without contacting my agent. Kenya is over an hour and 15 minutes late for this event. And I tweeted this. I was like, well, Sanya, if you wanted her to be on time, you need to book her through her agent. Just saying, book her through the agent. No, Kenya can be a lot. Kenya can be a lot, but she's definitely going to raise money. And Kenya comes in there and she's like, we're going to raise $100,000. They were close. They were very close. And if people like Marlo and Sheree weren't a humming, I thought it was really interesting that Candy and Kenya, who aren't Sanya's closest and dearest, were the first to donate. Drew, we saw you there. When Candy brought up donating 7, Drew was like, 7? You got 7? But word on the street, Drew did take a while to donate, but she did end up donating. All the ladies ended up donating from what we hear because they know they were going to drag. But we did hear that Sheree at the event, and it was edited out, was saying, but I'm a new grandma. So you came to this charity event. How much were you willing to give? Look, we don't know people's finances. I'm never going to say that someone needs to donate whatever needs to donate. I just find it interesting, the people that Sanya rides for, the way that she did. She gave Sheree an award. That award looked funny. Anyways, this is my review. That award looked funny. Sheree getting this mommy award felt a little like Sanya was sucking up. I'm not saying that Sheree doesn't deserve a mommy award. She is a mom. But so are everyone else at that table. Even Monty, Marlo. I don't know. It was a sweet moment, but at the same time, it felt like, Sanya, are you really just sucking up to Sheree right now? It just came out of left field. I was like, oh, you're going to give one to Sheree? Okay. Maybe not one to your auctioneer that's a mom as well and raising her daughter on her own? Or Candy or... or even Monty. Like, I really thought to myself, I was like, well, why not give one to Marlo? I mean, look, at this point, you're not going to give one to Marlo and to Sheree, and it's going to be very clear bias. But all those women that were at the table were moms, and it felt like you're singling out Sheree, saying that she does an incredible job, and I'm sure she does, but I don't look to Sheree. Like, if this was Real Housewives of New Jersey and they were going to honor Carolyn Manzo, to me, that would have felt so authentic. Like, yes, Caroline Manzo. But, like, yes, she's a mom, but that's not the first thing I think of when I think about Sheree. I think about failed clothing lines. I think about a 7-figure divorce settlement that she never got. I think of delusion. I think of fake relationships. I think of prison bae. But she is a mom. You a mom. For the love of Kiki. Anyways. So we have this brunch. Kenya is doing a bang-up job. Sanya's happy with the bang-up job. Do I think that... Let's talk about the outfit. Do I think that Kenya's outfit was her best? Here's the thing. Kenya... And a lot of you are dragging Kenya for the blonde wig confessional that she has this season. I allowed Kenya grace to play with her looks because Kenya... on her worst day, looks better than a lot of us, okay? So I allow Kenya grace to not always look great. I didn't love this look. The dress, The combination of the leather gloves and boots, The hair, But am I gonna be like, oh, Kenya's terrible, she's dressed for... Look, I expected Marlo to drag her in her confessional, whatever. Marlo, you don't always look great either, despite how people want to hype you up as a fashionista. I've yet to see Marlo was she at Paris Fashion Week? I know someone who was. Hi, Kenya. Just say it. So yeah, I allow Kenya, and I'm not Team Toro like that. Y'all know I'm Team Kempire all day, every day. But I also allow Kenya to not always get it right, and I think that's part of the reason why poor Sheree is out here getting something. I think Sheree got filler. Or something like that. I think she got filler, and that's why she looks different in her confessionals this episode. And she by Drew Sidora. But it's because of the constant things that people say on social media about their looks. I think Sheree looked fine before, but her body, her choice. That's what I always say. When people talk about people's bodies and what they want to do with their bodies, I'm like, well, I go back to when we talk about abortion and things like that. Your body, your choice. Yeah, but then when she comments on other people's bodies, like last week or the previous week, anyways. So we have Cairo present an award to his mom. Again, random moment. Kenya's look, not the greatest, but I allow her grace. She did help raise nearly $80,000 for charity. The goal was $50,000. The charity, what they're doing, Mommi Nation, really, really great. Homeless. These are things that we don't think about. Shout out to Danielle, who's a mod here and also a longtime watcher and supporter of the show. You may recall, I think it was last year, that we did a fundraiser for some of the period pads and things like that for homeless women. These are things that we don't think about in regards to people that don't, that live on the streets. They need these things, especially females. So, and we are going to do that again. So shout out to Danielle. Stay tuned for more information on that. We're going to raise money and be able to give out to the women of the DMV in North Carolina. So I love that Sanya was able to use this platform and bring focus and attention to such issues. So yes, we could talk about everyone, you're boring and this one and blah, 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 blah. Yes, all of that. But this was a great opportunity to bring attention to this, despite some people being very hesitant to donate. You saw the people that were hesitant. One is saying, I just became a grandma. The other one, the Muntie, is sort of like, okay. But both Monyetta, Candy were like, we got you. Good for Monyetta. What's Monyetta doing with herself? Since the whole Neo situation. Y'all see that recent picture of Neo? With all of his kids? I didn't realize he had that many kids. Okay. Okay. But this ends because I don't know, next week, are we going to be going to Portugal, or at least preparing to go to Portugal? I want to go to Portugal. I'm going to Portugal at some point. Anyways. So we're going to see them go to Portugal this season. And of course, the drama with Drew and her taking her scenes very seriously. I don't know. Apparently she kissed Ty Young, allegedly. And that's going to be the drama for the rest of the season. So although when I was covering all the stories that were coming out from the Real Housewives of Atlanta's newest season, I was like, where's Drew? I haven't heard anything about Drew. And here comes Drew on her white horse. Saving the season. Or not. We'll see. For me, Drew's scene with her sister was the most poignant, important scene of this episode. And if I had to rate this episode, don't forget to vote in the chat, and also let me know later on, crew, how you would vote this episode. I would rate this episode just because of that scene alone a 9. It was important. We don't talk about mental health enough, especially within the Black community. And it's a reminder to someone like me who runs his own media company to take vacations like this. I'm like, yeah, I'll get back to you guys. Yeah, I can put out a video here and there, but I'm not going to put pressure on myself if I just can't. I'm going to enjoy life. This is why you work so hard. So shout out to Allison, shout out to Drew. Thank you for sharing that story. Shout out to all of you for being here and being always the beautiful comments on my pictures and members. I appreciate you guys, and those of you that are on social media saying enjoy yourself, have a good time. Thank you for taking us along with you in the journey. I appreciate all those comments. Thank you. Guys, don't forget to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting the channel. As I'm recording this, it's 2-something in the morning. Not where you are, but you can see my dedication. Going to see more of the Netherlands, and if you're a member of the channel, you'll see some other photos from this weekend as well. Everyone, don't forget to like up the video, all right? And learn some Pig Latin so we can only communicate with each other. Let's continue this conversation, replay crew, in the comments section. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. And be sure to check out all the videos that you may have missed this week. I got to catch up on And Just Like That. I got to catch up on 90 Day Fiance, Before the 90 Days, and some other stuff. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon. Bye, y'all.